Welcome back to Factorio Space Exploration. My name is Nilaus, and today we're going to really utilize the power of the city blocks. That means we're going to be building a lot of the generic blocks that we're going to use for all of the science part. So, of course, we have this issue that we have the old base, and I need to retire the old base, and I can't retire the old base before I have I built it in the new base. So that is the objective today: is take some of the stuff that is recyclable and is used in pretty much every process. So that means in this episode we are going to cover the thermofluid. Oh, look at that, that's not a lot. We're going to cover the blank cards, and we're going to cover something like, well, somewhere here's some recycling of scrap and polluted scrap. So the only thing we have done is this one, with just the cleaning of the polluted cosmic water into normal cosmic water, and that's also something we're going to rely on. But once we have those three other things, scrap recycling, thermofluid recycling, and blank data cards recycling, I mean not just recycling but also replenishment, then we will have sort of the basic components and we can start migrating science again. So if you think that's interesting, well, I hope you're going to be watching, and if you want to continue to see this series evolve, then join me on Twitch on Sundays at 8 p.m. Central European Time at twitch.tv/Nilaus, and then follow this or follow the series here on YouTube. Now, we have a lot of ground to cover, so let's get started on the first block, the scrap block. So the scrap block is going to contain two different things. It's going to contain the decontamination, and the decontamination will take the polluted scrap, and you take a dash of cosmic water, which we now have, and then put it in here, and then get some scrap at equal amounts, a little teeny tiny bit of uranium ore, and a little bit of contaminated cosmic water, and a little bit of contaminated biosludge. The contaminated cosmic water we can then send back to the original location. The uranium ore we can just store because it's minuscule amounts, and the contaminated biosludge we will just have to leave it be because we will need to have a biosludge recycling facility at some point later in time, but it's not a high quantity, so we'll just put it in a box and forget about it. Then we take the output, the scrap output, and then we need to put it in together with whatever scrap we also get it in here into the scrap. There are many different scrap recipes, and one of the easiest ones is probably just to say, just make it into landfill and forget about it. That just means you throw it away and never recycle it, but there's actually a lot of scrap, so I think I am going to be using this. So one scrap will get a 40% chance of a resource, not a lot, but it's something. And that will be iron, copper, stone, or heavy oil. And those materials will then be processed and then be put into the network as iron, copper, or stone. Iron plates, copper plates, or stone plates. So we can use those, right? So let's have a look at what that would look like when it is ready. Through the magic of video editing, it could look something like this. And what we're seeing here is a hell of a lot of trains. I have highlighted here the inputs. And we need some cosmic water input, we need some contaminated scrap, and then we get this scrap outbound, but the scrap the scrap is also another inbound. Then we have these two as outbounds, then we have all of this as outbound, and we also have this, but that's just going to be in a box. So somewhere we are going to, here, we're going to start with the contaminated scrap, and we get a little bit of uranium, and we just put it in here and throw it away, don't care. But aside from this, it comes in. We can now enable all these trains. I have set up the trains, but they have been set to disabled. For example, we are here. We have contaminated sludge. So we just set that up here. Then we'll go here and wait for it to be full. It's going to take a very long time for it to be full, but I will use my normal system, the normal train system, where provider trains are here. Each provider train will have a train associated that will depart when full. And that means you will now have many providers with filling up with these byproducts that will then wait for a few reprocessing locations. I think that's going to work. Here we are going to get some of this, and let's see, let's get that one in here. Okay, let's get that in, and let's get the other one in as well. Oops. Where is it? Here. Go. And this one. Go. Okay. So we should now see a train coming inbound, and down here. Oh, there is our train with some cosmic water and then that will be reprocessed. Then we also need here, we need a scrap train. If we have some scrap trains, sure, let's set them up, but they are not really, they're not doing much at this point. Do we have some polluted scrap trains? No, we do not. But I've also set these up as being requested because there might be some process down the line that just produces a minuscule amount that I didn't want to put on a train, but then we can get it like this. And then over here, which actually is a little bit of an annoyance because now we don't have a way to test this. So what I can do is I can just magic up a little bit of this so we can actually see it working. So what I've now done is I have magicked up some contaminated scrap. The contaminated scrap is coming in here and it goes in, and these two are actually producing quite rapidly. They are consuming 34 per second, which I hope is enough, and if it's not enough we can always just invent another or copy this block as well. And this will produce the scrap outbound, which will be the input for the next process, which will then compete against the trains coming in with scrap going into this process, and then becoming the 3 other locations. They will just be filtering out here, and as you can see they are coming in here, and then they'll just be picked up at this location into various things. And of course they are going to be like really pushing it right now, but if we look at it, if we look at like this here, you can see that we are pretty much at exactly the ratio here where we can consume it, or we can actually consume everything that is being produced. That's very important. So it will never be stuck. They will just be busy picking up things, but no problems here. Then what I also do is I take the iron and then make it into steel, into barrels, and then barrel all of this so that I just have it. It's very low quantity, but you know, eventually there'll be a little bit, and then that needs to be processed and put somewhere. And that is easily able to keep up, and there is like an internal buffer here, and an internal buffer here, and an internal buffer here, so you don't have any problems. These 2 trains, they will just be ready and waiting. So they'll be going here, and you'll be going there. So now they are enabled and ready to go when they fill up. Of course, we'll also have similar trains at other locations when we need to get iron and copper additionally in here. But these 2 will be, when they're ready, they'll just be going out at some point. There is a little chance, of course, that this one will always be stuck here, and it will always take from the rocket facility, but that's probably something we can just set up a little warning, so if it happens then we'll just check it and set up, so that's okay. So this is the scrap taken care of. Let's take a look at the thermofluid, which gets a little bit more complicated. So now we need to use the biochemical facility, and we have 2 different recipes for thermofluid. This is the virgin thermofluid, you can say, and then we also of course need to be recycling it as well. But there is also this one which uses cyanide sludge, and cyanide sludge it requires cyanide, but it lowers the amount needed of chemical plants and everything else as well. So if you look at it here, this is 20 heavy oil, this is 4 heavy oil. That is a big change, and 5 chemical gel versus 2 chemical gel. And the rest is pretty much the same. 112 for the solids, 112 for the solids, yes. So it reduces heavy oil and chemical gel by using cyanide sludge. So we'll do the cyanide slush version, and then we just have to make that on novice, which is not a problem. And what we will do is we will get it up into this glorious location here, where we actually are getting in some slush inbound, and that will be ready for going out on a train. So no problem there. The other part though is chemical gel. Now we are producing chemical gel, but we're producing in the bus base, so we need to make a new location that makes chemical gel first, which is simple. Cosmic water, we have that, and petroleum gas, we have that. So the first thing we need to do is make a chemical gel plant and get that going. Then we also need to take a look at this. The cyanide sludge will come in, this, and all the other things are known quantities. But what about the issue of coming back as, like, we're not going to make this thermofluid because this thermofluid only has 1 usage. There's only 1 usage of thermofluid, and that's making it into better thermofluid. And so in the where are those? I can never find anything in this inventory. Let's just request it and hope that that's the one. Yes, there. Okay, maybe not 50, just 10 of those. Let's get those in. Here, this is what we needed, and we have 3 different recipes available. One is only has 1 in 500 loss, the other one has 1 in 50 loss, and this has 1 in 10 loss. So I'm going to take the best one because it has less loss. That means there's less need for additional fluids. However, because we're using trains, there will be like massive buffers, so we are going to use a lot of this process here, because I'll have like 25,000 plus fluid at each of the locations, and that's just the way it is. So I'm going to need this, and this is not fast, so I'm going to need a lot of these. The first, let's take a look at what the chemical gel plant could look like. This is a pretty simple location. Chemical gel is being produced here in each of these locations, and I think it's fast enough. I'm producing at 83, and if I need more, then I can always just and I knew I couldn't help myself. Just like, okay, there we go, more than 100, perfect. But it's like 500 chemical or 500 petroleum gas. That is a lot. The thing is, we are going to request the petroleum gas in here. The cosmic water is already coming in because we enabled the cosmic water when we were setting up the scrap recycling. So this is coming in, and we're getting chemical plants. It's probably not going to be able to keep up with this ratio here, this production speed, because it's pretty much certainly not going to keep up. You can see how quickly it already goes out, and then we'll see how fast it can come back. And now it is going in here and loading. There we go. And then coming back out to us. And let's see if it actually is able to keep up. It's going to be really close actually, but it looks like it is actually going to keep up. We have 7,000, and there we go. Okay, so it is keeping up, and it's making a lot of products for us. This will now be available for for the next one. This is set to manual, but we'll set it up to automatic once it is ready. So let's have a look at what the thermal fluid could look like. Here's another block, and this is now making the virgin thermal fluid here, making it with the slush ice coming in, and all the other things. The ones that are not in is here. We are receiving this this heavy oil from two sources. We are receiving it from the little bit of excess production up here, but not so much, but also from another production. We are going to import this from Nauvis in bulk, because we're going to need it in bulk, particularly right now. So at this point, all they have to do is set it up. This one will be fired up. This one will be fired up. And we are then going to get the other things inbound. So we have 3 solids as well. They will also be fired up here. There we go. And that'll be coming in here. And this one is also coming in. And the last item in here is going to be the copper, I believe. Yep, copper is there. So this one is the one that's stuck at the rocket launching. So this one will be easily able to go out, while the other one, the other train here, is the one that's at the scrap location, and therefore it'll slowly fill up. But the other one will fill up immediately and go out. Last thing we need is heavy oil, but we don't have that imported, but we'd like to get that imported as well. At this point, we can just take this. This is a little bit slow, so we'll just force it inbound, and then I think everything else is coming. And why is this not coming? Oh, I guess it's unloading at a different location. Oh, that's kind of sad. And here comes the copper, so the process is working. It's slow because I just took the copper from the scrap recycling, but here is this part down here is producing new thermofluid, while this part up here is requesting new thermofluid. So new thermofluid, or when you need thermofluid, it ends up being hot. And when it comes out as hot from any of the future processes, if we look at, oh yeah, it's funny, you can't even see thermofluid here. Man, that's a, oops, that one is used for there. So when you need thermofluid, how many processes, 135, produce some thermofluid? So you're going to get a lot of thermofluid. That needs to come back and be prioritized for recycling. That comes here. That will be prioritized for recycling coming back into this location. And what I'm doing now is I am setting up a filter that says the sum of everything here plus everything here. That's the sum, and it goes down here. And if that sum is less than 25,000, then start producing some more. So basically that means that, and 75,000 is exactly a train load, so as long as we have less than a train load of fuel, of thermofluid stored, then keep producing new thermofluid. Because I don't want it to jam by overproducing thermofluid, and I don't want it to starve because of underproducing. So I need some kind of balance here. And I need to make sure that the used thermofluid that has been out and being warmed up in some process comes back and gets prioritized. So that gets pushed in here, while the other part, the new one, only got pushed in when the sum of produced is less than 25,000. So this process here is, well, it's working, but it's not working fast because each of these processes are very slow, and this one is not working because we're lack of copper, but I think the copper is coming in to us now. Please be. Oh, okay. So it's going back for filling up, and then it should be coming in here. But that means this is working. We just need to make a lot of thermofluid, and that's why we put up a big storage here as well. The last process we're going to take a look at is the process of making blank data cards. There are two ways of making blank data cards. There is, again, the new, fresh virgin one here, blank data cards, which used polished data, storage, substrate, and then some advanced circuit and copper. And the other one is by taking the old one, the junk cards, and trying to get formatting them out. That is a 29% chance of them breaking. There's a 70% chance of recycling and 30% chance of not working. If they are not working, then they will be turned into broken cards. Broken cards can only be turned into scrap, which we know what to deal with. So this one is already relying on another recycling process. So here again, we want to take our junk cards and prioritize them in, and then only make additional blank cards when there's not enough recycled ones. So that needs some logic as well. And of course, if we want to make some recycling or some of this is the polished card, then we take the rough data storage substrate plus some cosmic water. We got that, and we get some little bit, teeny tiny bit of scrap outbound, and some contaminated cosmic water outbound as well. And both of those is, excess or sort of residual products we know how to deal with. So let's start by making this part here. This is rather slow, so and we need 4 of the polished for 1 data card. And here we have it, and also we can see that the cosmic water has already come in because we already have a station for the cosmic water. This is the recycled cosmic water or the polluted cosmic water. It's really important or really convenient to have these next to each other. Same with thermofluid and used thermofluid, because then that will be very common for future builds that they'll have cosmic water in, polluted cosmic water out. They'll have cool thermofluid in and warm thermofluid out. First thing we need to do is get the substrates. Substrates are coming from Novus, so that is not a problem at all. They're coming in here. And then just with a dash of cosmic water, then we should see the process spring to life. How fast is it? Oh, look at that. 5 minutes to a coronal mass ejection. Doesn't matter. That's not going to be an issue. We are fully protected against that, I hope. And yeah, so it's producing quite a lot of stuff here, but it's just making this polished. The polish goes up here, and the other one is the scrap, which is kind of funny that I put it here. This scrap should honestly, let me just be completely honest about this. This scrap should be put into a box because it's 1% there. So that is definitely not worth having a train to do that. So sorry, train, you're gonna go out. There we go. Yeah, you don't have a train for something that is 1% processed. That's a little bit silly. Even though it's not incorrect or it's not a problem, but it's just silly. Cool. So we have that, and that is going to be getting into the next process. And next process, of course, how do we? You kidding me? Ah, this is why I don't like these. There we go. Yes. Oh, why? Oh, why? This is why I shouldn't be doing these kind of things, right? Because now I thought it would look better, but now it just turns out to be awful in a different way. Yeah, that's not great. I should be moving the whole thing 1 over. Like this. There we go. Just the small things, right? And you see them and going, yeah, I need to fix that. Good. Could move this one over. Now, let's move over to the other one where we actually use these polish cards. And the polish cards is here. We can see the copper is already coming out because we did enable the copper train outbound. So that's already coming in here. Then let's take a look at the items we need in here. Then so we can get this started. That's the polish, the stuff we just made, and the advanced circuit. So we'll enable the advanced circuit build here, or the advanced circuit train should be coming in. And down here we need a train, that one, which is half full, and then it's coming in when full. The other part of it is the recycling part, which is done in supercomputers. And here we are requesting some cool thermofluid and then getting some warm fluid out. So let's request some cool fluid. That's going to be here. See, this is producing too slow, but it is what it is. And this one is then the return, which will just be stuck here until there is enough for returning. I think that it would be okay for us to send it. It's coming. It's not fast, but it's coming in. 2 minutes on that coronal mass ejection, and this one should also be coming in soon. So we just wait for these to come in and then get on the other side of this coronal mass ejection. And while we're waiting for the coronal mass ejection to hit us, then let's take a look at this slush ice production facility. The reason why I'm making it on Novice is because I can then use the productivity modules. So we're making this with productivity modules on Novice. All it needs is sulfuric acid, which we got, and cryonite that we already had, cryonite rods. And then we just get some nice cryonite slush, which will then go into, of course, a train station, a rocket station, which will be sitting up here, sending it up, and then going into orbit. So no problems with that either. And that should be the cue for us to see the effect of the coronal mass ejection. It is starting now. Perfect. And then what we see is that it's this umbrella thing is using a lot of power. And oh, right, I know what I forgot. I do have something that I need to do. And before the coronal mass ejection starts, this one, and there. Turn it on. Really? What? Are they working? Power output. Oh, it is working. Oh, right, it is working. Okay, never mind. This is not just lukewarm, but it's super hot. So this one has already been prepared. I have this nuclear power plant. I'm not using it normally, but I power it up when there is a coronal mass ejection coming because it protects us pretty well from this. Let's have a look at this part. I don't know if you can see the accumulator charge is not even dipping, not even a little bit. So no problems there. Also the consumption here, even though this is the rest of the factory, which is nothing because we are not really producing any signs anymore. So it's pretty much idle. And then it peaks out at this one and the umbrella will just take it and then it just starts going down. So as you can see, no problem at all. So right now, nothing much is happening in the sense that, yes, we are making all of this. Oh, it's actually not as fast as I'd like. Oops. So let's get that one and there. So that should be able to keep up. Yes, much better. And what are these quad? 60. Okay. That's definitely not working on one belt, is it? I think I might have overdone it a little bit in terms of this. I'll change this so that it gets a little bit better at least. There we go. This is going to be working a lot better. So now this should be producing at a much more decent rate. But we still have the problem that we're not really getting any of these inbounds. So let's spend the time on doing this and then just use this as well as a requester because we might actually have these produced in, let's just say, like modest amount that it really doesn't matter for us to actually get them in here. So let's request those in and then see how this actually works once it gets in here. All of this is looking fine. We are just producing. The thing is, it comes in on one side. It's actually kind of funny that I can actually do this because then it only goes in on a single side of the belt. Could I make it even better? Yeah, I can make it even better like this. Because then I don't need that one. There you go. Not that it really matters, but you know, it's... I like that. I like that better. So that will just now only merge from the sides, so whatever comes here will always be first priority. And are we getting something inbound? Yes, we are getting something inbound. This one will of course be going there if there was one stop that existed. It goes in here, and do we even have this enough? No, we don't. I was kind of expecting that this might be a little bit slow, but that is not something I can do anything about on this one at least. But the other ones I can do that. Huh, it's funny. Funny how that is, well, funny and annoying. But this means this is only barely keeping up. No, it is keeping up. Okay, so one of them can pick up as long as the belt is full. Never mind, I had planned it correctly. Good. And it goes out, and you can see they only join in from the side. That's perfectly fine, and goes up here and gets our blank data cards, which is exactly what we want, and then we can get those. So at this point we have now made a lot of recycling. We've recycled the cosmic water, which we did last time, polluted cosmic water cleanup. We've done scrap, polluted scrap. We've done thermofluid into cool thermofluid, recycling it. We've done chemical gel, which is also used for a few things. We got the polished data cards, which is only used for one thing though. And then we got the recycling of data cards, as well as creation of new data cards. That means we have now prepared ourselves pretty well for, let's say, getting into the science. All of this is done. We got the cosmic water. If we look at this part, which is the next one, utility science, all this is done. Machine learning cards, cyanide rods, and cool thermal fluids. All these things are also done. If we look at this, we got everything here as well. Don't have the plasma stream, so we can actually start reproducing some of the basic space science pretty quickly now, and then get into the more advanced ones. But we do have all these things, and that will be the next couple of live streams and episodes. So I hope you found this enjoyable and maybe educational, motivational, whatever, and at least made it to the end. So thank you for that. Until next time, take care, and as always, stay effective.